Hi, John Sortino here again. Instead of calling myself a course instructor, from now on I'm going to call myself course coach. Welcome to lesson 3. I broke this lesson up into 3 parts. Entrepreneurship by the numbers, why schools are not teaching entrepreneurship, and how to use your child's school lessons and make them entrepreneurship lessons. I feel my mission as a coach is to guide adults like you who have kids in their lives to coach that child into becoming a player, an entrepreneur player. As CEO of the Vermont Teddy Bear Company, I coach my management team into becoming better managers. And I learned about coaching mostly from the kids I coached on my Little League team. I was the head coach of my town's Little League team for about 12 years. All 3 of my own children played for me. We had the winningest team in town, not because I was a coach who yelled at or overcoached. It was because I surrounded myself with as many coaches as I could, and I made playing fun. Each parent to me was a potential coach. I would advise them on activities they could do at home to help their child become a better ball player. Like, for example, just swinging the bat in front of a mirror or throwing the ball against the wall. At each game, I had an average of 5 coaches. I even had a bench coach who kept score and kept the kids sitting in the order of when they were to bat. At every practice, I used every parent who attended to do some activity with the kids. Now, I hope you all become good coaches and enjoy coaching business. I feel that learning about business is like learning how to play a game. The business game requires all kinds of players: marketing players, sales players, math players, players who are good communicators, creative players, etc. And each of these type of players are where entrepreneurs come from. This is an interesting fact. Did you know there are only 6,600 professional baseball players in the United States? Only 1,200 of them play on big league teams. And there are between 8 and 30 million entrepreneurs in the US, 400 million worldwide. Here's some other interesting numbers to think about, and this is from Kaufman. I have a handout for you so you could read this report yourself. From 1980 to 2005, firms less than 5 years old accounted for all net job growth in the United States. In 2009, 2.3 million new jobs were created by new firms. More than half of the companies on the 2009 Fortune 500 list were launched during a recession or bear market. And nearly half the firms on the 2008 Inc. list of America's fastest growing companies. In 2010, an average of 0.34% of adults created a new business each month, equaling about 565,000 businesses per month. Firm formation in the United States is remarkably consistent over time, with the number of new companies varying little from year to year. If 30 to 60 more new billion-dollar firms were launched each year, it would permanently increase the U.S. GDP by 1 percentage point. Contrary to popular held assumption, the highest rate of entrepreneurial activity belongs to 54 to 65, 55 to 64-year-old age group over the past decade. 54% of the nation's millennials, the Y generation, people born around 1980 to the early 2000s, either want to start a business or already have started one. Only 16% of the fastest growing and most successful companies in the United States had venture investors. In 2010, the immigration rate of entrepreneurial activity, 0.62%, was substantially higher than the native-born U.S. population, 0.28%. And lastly, more than a quarter of technology and engineering companies started in the United States from 1995 to 2005 had at least one key founder who was foreign born. It's a lot of numbers, but it kind of gives you an idea how many entrepreneurs there are out there. Now I'd like to move on to part 2. Schools are not teaching entrepreneurship because they don't know how. When you ask a child what do they want to be when they grow up, they answer if they answer some position or person they know, firefighter, police officer, teacher like my mom, doctor, male person, etc. They rarely say, I want to be an entrepreneur. They don't know what the word means, and they even don't know how to spell it. The job entrepreneur is more of an independent thinking and acting kind of a position. Schools really don't teach us to be independent. They teach us to follow rules. Now, if you owned a pizza shop, you'd have to know how to make pizzas, and schools can teach you how to cook. But as a pizza owner, you also have to manage the business, invent the business, run the business, decorate the interior of the business, keep the windows clean, know what food your customers like, make sure your customers are happy, make a sign for the business, call it a name like Johnny's New York Pizza, make sure the bathrooms are clean, grow the business, plan for rainy days, etc., etc. And at the end of all of that, you need to know how to keep enough money left over for you and your family to live comfortably. Schools really teach us how to do the skills other companies need, how to do a specific skill another company might need. For example, they might teach us how to program a computer, or how to become a doctor, lawyer, architect, clothing designer, teacher, etc. They also teach us to sit at our desks and follow all the rules that school has. Raise your hand, don't talk, no you can't go to the bathroom, go to the principal's office, get a better grade or you fail. At the school I teach at, I see all these rules. And I say to my kids, I teach an after-school program, I say to my kids, I don't know how you kids follow all these rules. And they say to me, kind of like exhausted, they don't either. And you should meet the office manager where the kids get sent for detention. You do not want to get sent there. Now, most companies, pretty much all companies, have these same kind of rules. At the Vermont Teddy Bear Company, I had simple rules so people could follow my simple rules. They were, in no specific order, have fun, make a profit, hire teddy bear people, always make your bears in Vermont, and work together. I also had very few reasons for firing someone. You pretty much had to do the same thing over 3 times. So when we let somebody go, we would say to them, look, you whatever the problem was, say, please correct this problem, because if you don't correct the problem, you're going to get another letter warning you about this problem. And after you get 2 letters warning you about the problem, the 3rd time, we're not going to warn you, we're just going to let you go. And only once did I fire somebody at the Vermont Teddy Bear Company. It was because this one, as a man who was working the 3rd shift, the people in the company were afraid of him because he kind of carried a knife to work, and he kind of actually freaked me out a little bit too. In this course, you will think and understand more like how entrepreneurs think and understand. And then I hope you will help guide your kids in that direction. To become an entrepreneur, be better prepared instead of learning like most entrepreneurs, which when a person decided they want to start a company, most entrepreneurs just either sink or swim. Okay, now I'm going to move on to part 3. How to make school lessons into entrepreneurial lessons. When I had the Teddy Bear Company, I had to teach myself about financials. I had to teach myself really how to learn from others. I needed to inspire myself by learning from other entrepreneurs. I had to teach myself how to market and advertise, how to make a bear, how to pay taxes, how to measure employees' performance, plan and execute, etc. It took me 7 years to learn a lot of these skills. Once I learned these skills, became good at them, the company exploded with success. We went from 400,000 or just under 400,000 to 1.7 million to 5.6 million to 10.6 million to 17 million to 20.5 million in the years I was the CEO. There's a lot of growth. I highly think a lot of these skills can be taught in school, and with your guidance, you could your child can acquire these skills. Measuring and evaluating are both taught in science classes and math classes. Communication is taught in English classes and art classes. Speaking is taught, besides an English class, I would highly recommend a debate club. I was not a good debater, but I really loved being in a debate club. It taught me a lot about how to speak in public. Teamwork and achieving team goals are what team sports teach. In history classes, you can guide your child to do reports on past and present entrepreneurs. Kids are always asked to do a report on somebody, so have them read books on past and present entrepreneurs. There's enough books out there. All right, in review of lesson 3, there are a lot more entrepreneurs out there than you think. There are only 4 million teachers in the United States, and as of 2011, in April, 1.2 million licensed attorneys in the United States. And yet, we spend a lot of our time teaching people how to become teachers and lawyers and things like that, but we don't spend our time teaching our kids on how to become entrepreneurs. Business is like a game. Make it fun. Keep it fun. I have some fun ideas later on in the lessons that I'll pass on to you about, for example, making savings fun. And use the lessons kids are learning in school and apply them to business lessons. All right. Now, your homework it's about what does it take to make a website. So I'd like you to do this along with your child. Google businesses by types in your community. For example, you might Google plumbing businesses, businesses that key lock businesses because everyone needs a key, things like that. Maybe car dealerships, whatever. If you live in a farming community, I'm sure that there's a John Deere business and a tractor trailer, those kind of businesses, whatever. And check out that business's website. Discuss with your child what skills were needed to make that website. Then discuss with your child how many of those skills can be learned at school. Now, the skills that can't be learned at school, you can learn those skills online. For example, you can learn how to program a computer, the language of a computer, at code.org, code.org. If your school doesn't teach HTML, but most websites today, it doesn't require, in order to make one, you don't really have to learn the HTML. Then I want you to build a pretend website. Make up a service or product with your child. 2 websites I recommend. The kids in my school use Wix.com, Wix.com. There's also Weebly.com. These are both free services. And just put together a pretend website. It's a lot of fun. Lastly, let me know what I can do in the weekly live sessions to be a better coach for you. And I'll see you all in lesson 4, which is teaching and encouraging dreaming. Bye for now. Hi, John Sortino.